and then you're going to go live. Okay?
Yeah.
Yvonne Secreto RN has a solid combination of healthcare education, business training, and life experience. She is a nurse, entrepreneur, author, and CEO, founder of Health Awareness Educational Products and Services, LLC, the creator of the wellnessgalaxy.com, and Advancing Health Awareness.
Hi, everyone. Hello. I see some people are writing in the chat. I think I saw Lisa. Do you mind reading it to me? I'm having a hard time navigating my notes here and getting in. Welcome. I'm glad that you guys came. So happy to know that you're here. We have a lot to do today, okay? We are going to do rules and tools today. And rules and tools is a lot of information. So get your pens and pads if you want to take some notes. And we are going to do an amazing meditation at the end of the class like we usually do. So let me start. You know what? Let's do a recap, okay? So we're going to recap. The reason we're doing rules and tools is because when you are building a kingdom in your relationship, you want to kind of live by certain rules that always keep you on the right track, right? So let's recap how you got to the kingdom. Remember in the beginning, we said there are two types of relationships. There are classroom relationships and there are kingdom building relationships. So we focused on the classroom in the beginning. And the classroom means that you are now in a relationship that is teaching you something. So in the very beginning of the book, and we are studying and reading from the book, Elevated Relationships by Yvonne Secreto. So in the beginning, we talked about meeting your representative. You know, you're in a new relationship and that person is on their best behavior, right? And so you meet the representative, they come in, they're their best self. And then eventually the person that shows up, we call the duck. So the duck is, you know that saying, Oprah says this sometimes, he walks like a duck, he quacks like a duck, he's a duck, okay? So that's when the red flags start going up. And you have excuse me, you have the red flags and you aren't sure if you want to continue, right? So you say, gosh, is this person worth the risk, right? Are they worth the headache? Remember we talked that some people stay in the same classroom their entire lifetime with different people, learning the same lessons. Some people switch to, they have different people learning the same lesson. Some people have the same person learning the same lesson. Some people spend many lifetimes learning the same lessons in the same classroom. So we did an exercise where you came out of the classroom, right? But before we did that, we had to discover a few things. One of the things we talked about was, who are you bringing to the relationship? So none of us are perfect. You get in the relationship, the representative knocks you off your feet, and then you meet the duck side of the person with all the red flags, and then you're like, oh my God, what do I do? One of the things that I tell people is to measure whether the good outweighs the bad. And we do that with what we call the 10 agreements, which are in the book here. We talk about these 10 agreements. We didn't really get into it in the last meeting, so I'm going to talk to you about those 10 agreements now. And I know there's some information in the chat. We're going to get to it later. People were talking about Reiki. We're going to start the mastership class in a few weeks. I'm really excited about that. So the 10 agreements for the relationships are: I stay in the present. I use my intuitive knowing to determine my level of commitment to this agreement. So you're going to trust your intuition. Why? Because you're using your new female self, that you are hearing what is right for you to move forward in the relationship, right? I agree to view this assignment as my classroom mirror. Remember, we said that the person in our lives are usually a mirror for us, and they're showing us and reflecting something back to us that we need to learn about ourselves. I dedicated this relationship to something greater than myself. You know, a lot of times we ponder and we say, okay, I really like the representative, you know, I see the red flags flying. Do I go forward? Do I step back? When people agree to the 10 agreements, I say to them, you know what? Maybe you're not doing this for yourself. Maybe you're not doing it for the person. Maybe you're doing it for God. So you can make that decision. Is this experience for something greater than myself? My measuring cup calibrates a daily, weekly, monthly basis to keep me conscious of what is happening in the relationship. So you don't pretend that you don't see things that are going on. You face them full on, right? Does the negative outweigh the positive? Does the positive outweigh the negative? If the negative outweighs the positive, don't do the agreement. Step away, honor the red flags, and keep moving. There will be someone else better that comes along. If the positive outweighs the negative, then go forward with the agreement and allow yourself to learn and grow and possibly get to kingdom building. I agree to work closely with my non-physical tribe. This is very important. Your non-physical tribe are your guides, your ancestors, your mentors, and spiritual teachers in the higher realms. The leader of your non-physical tribe is your source, creator, God, Allah, whatever term you use, and you are constantly in check-in mode with that energy, right? I allow my non-physical tribe to handle the details, including disciplinary or corrective actions. I learn how to turn it over. A lot of times when we're in a bad relationship or a difficult relationship or a complicated relationship, we want to get revenge. We want to teach that person a lesson. And one of the agreements is I turn that lesson over. Trust me, when the universe gives a person a spanking, it's much harder than when you do it. So you leave that discipline alone. I allow my non-physical tribe to dictate my right actions. So let's back up a little. Remember, we said that we had inner male and inner female activity, and it's not gender, it's energy. So the inner male is old male or new male. And we did an exercise where you were able to release the old male and embrace the new male, and release the old female and embrace the new female. So I'm going to review the qualities of the old and new inner selves. Old male, domineering, aggressive, controlling. Okay. This is the person, it's my way or the highway. They usually attract someone who has old female energy. And this can be a man or a woman. And an old female energy is someone who is always a victim. They're always having a pity party. They're very manipulative, passive aggressive. If any of us or people have these qualities, we can recognize them and choose to release them. But old male and old female usually work together. So we learn that the goal is to become new male, new female. Only we'll flip it around because new female leads. So new female is intuition. She is very nurturing. She is very spiritual. This is the part of you that should be leading you. So we trade her in for the victim side, right? She's very, very powerful. And I gave you some examples of the United Nations being new female and the Army being new, the new male female energy, and the Army being the old male, old female energy. So she rules through like Mother Nature. There's no greater force, right, than Mother Nature. Okay, so we have the new female. The new male is right action. So she intuits and then she gives him instructions and he acts on it with right action. So an example I use is a musician. That musician will intuit a melody, a song, lyrics, whatever. And if their male and female selves are working together, they intuit the song, they write it down, they write the melody, they get the instrument, they play it. That's the new male taking right action. They publish it and print it up and name it and sell it and generate income from it. That's someone using their intuition, taking right action and bringing it to fruition. And you could do that with anything. Okay. So we talked about who are you bringing to the relationship. Now, if someone is bringing old male, old female, and they want to change, we did a 5-step exercise. Remember? So that 5-step exercise took us to a place where we were able to go within and figure out, what am I learning in the relationship? Who am I being? What am I learning? And with that information, we made a new declaration. The declaration was, I'm aware of the learning. I no longer need it. I asked from a higher self level to release the learning, and I released any negative feelings I had about the experiences that came about in the learning. And with that release, there was forgiveness. I forgave the person, I forgave myself, and I started a new day. How did we do that? Number 4 and 5, we went into the future. We looked at what life looked like without the learning, what experience you were having, and then we gave that a name in the form of an affirmation, right? And after the affirmation, we had a visual. And we looked at your future self without the learning. So this is someone that now stepped out of the classroom and they're ready for kingdom building. So that's what we last did. I want to just finish up with the agreements. I remain conscious of my inner male and my inner female selves. Are they working together? That is the question. Remember, We said that if they work together, and we did an exercise where you met your inner male and your inner female. Did they look the same? Did they look different? Was one more dense and firm and strong than the other? Was the other more nebulous? Does that mean that you're not using your intuition, your nurturing side, your spiritual side? You're relying mainly on your mental, physical self. So a nice balance is when you're using both and when they are actively working together. So that's what we looked at when we did the exercise between the inner male and the inner female self. And we said, okay, I'm ready to build kingdom now. 9 is operate in this assignment without an attachment to the outcome. A lot of these things that I talk to you about come from a book called You Can Have It All by Arnold Patton. It's a very old book, and he talks about universal laws, right? And so we talk about the mirror principle, and you learn that people are a reflection of the things that we need to learn about ourselves. They reflect it back to us. But one of the principles that Arnold Patton teaches us about is the law of non-attachment. So we can make a decision that, yes, we're giving this relationship our all. We're trying our best to be our best selves. We are holding the person in a place of being their best selves. And we are not attached to the outcome. Why? Because if we give our all, do our best, and prepare ourselves to be our new male and female selves and our best selves, and the person that we're in the relationship with is not reciprocating that, then we understand that they made that choice and we may have to let go. But if we do, we know that we are ready for a new, healthier relationship and that we have absolutely done our best selves. We are not attached to the outcome or the person. And this is a big one for a lot of us. I know it's very easy to just rewind and review in your mind. I should have said this. I should have did that. And then we kind of get stuck in that loop, right? So this non-attachment, the law of non-attachment, says that we don't get stuck in the loop because we're not attached to an outcome. Why? Because according to Arnold Patton, we don't have all the variables. We do not know everything that there is to know about the situation. So we trust if something is unfolding that it's doing so for our highest good. And that's what the agreement helps you to hold on to. And the law of non-attachment helps you to remember that. And the 10th agreement is I project and maintain an air of confidence, of love, peace, and joy, because I know that I am fully committed to accomplishing my highest good and the highest good of my partner. So be it, and so it is. When we talk about the exercises at the end of the series, I'm going to teach you how to really take the energy of an orgasm, wrap it around yourself and your partner, and really hold that energy for the highest good of both you and your partner. That is the ultimate goal of kingdom building. You are always lifting yourselves up. You lift yourself up, you lift the person up. So let's talk about rules and tools. There are 5 rules, okay? And I'm going to go over those 5 rules with you. We're going to talk more about how to maintain those rules. The tools are holistic healing tools. I used to have 40 of them. Now I'm working with 53. And they're all listed in the book, and there will be more on the website eventually. Our website is thewellnessgalaxy.com, thewellnessgalaxy.com. Um, so there are 5 rules. Rule number 1: learn how to keep yourself protected on a physical plane using non-physical tools. And the strongest non-physical tool is invoking or calling in the light. So I want to just talk to you about vibrations, because everything is vibrations. We are dense because we're vibrating, and we can use water as an example, right? If you freeze water, it gets very, very dense and solid. It's vibrating at a lower vibratory frequency, and it becomes ice, right? So you could see it, it's solid. You take that same water and you add heat to it, and it loosens up and becomes liquidy, and now it's water. It's vibrating at another frequency. When we switch to more energy, which is what your mind can bring, your mind is now going to evoke a stronger vibration for you to use light. So we put that water under a higher energy frequency with fire, and it becomes what? Steam, right? Now it's vibrating at the highest frequency, and we cannot see it anymore. It's the same molecules, H2O, but it's not solid, it's not liquid. It is vibrating so fast that you cannot see it. And it is now steam, right? Same molecules. You can use your skills of visualizing to bring forward a higher vibratory frequency and have the energy around you increase by invoking the light. So let me give you some examples. I had a friend, I lived in Queens, New York at the time, and she came over to visit me. She's a nurse like myself, and she was showing me her new car, and it was this gorgeous cream colored Jaguar. Beautiful car. And I think I know it was a 2-seater. It might have been a convertible. It was beautiful. This was many years ago. And it was dusk going into darkness. And we were standing outside talking and admiring the car. And out of nowhere, 2 guys stepped up, walked towards us, and said, "That's a really nice car." Neither one of us said anything, but both she and I did the same thing at the same time. I invoked the light, and I said, "You are surrounded by the white light of the Christ, and we are surrounded by the white light of the Christ Spirit." And I envisioned light all around us, all around the car, all around the 2 men that were walking towards us. And it was like magic. They just did like a 360 turn and just made like I don't know, it was like an L shape. They were walking towards us, and they just went and walked in the other direction. And they just walked down the street. They didn't say a word. We didn't say a word. And I turned to her and I said to her, "Did you put the light on them?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "I did too." So when you put light on negativity, you have to increase the frequency. It's like putting water under the fire, okay? And so it starts to vibrate at a higher frequency. If the negative thoughts that may have been in their mind, I don't know, maybe it wasn't, um, was there, that higher vibration and that higher frequency would have elevated and lifted it already, right? We talk about using Reiki energy in our class, and you can lift the vibration of a room just by putting the symbols in the room. You know, a lot of times we come into a space and we can feel the negativity, or we meet a person and we can feel their negativity. And if we invoke the light and we say, I now surround you with light, I surround us with light, I surround myself with light. If you can visualize it, all the better. But you don't have to. You can just invoke it, right? So if that happens, you are guaranteed that you're bringing that positive high energy. It's invisible like the steam, but it's there in the room, right? If you feel that negative energy and you don't do that, then you're making that choice to leave that energy in control. So let's say you're raising the vibration of people around you, the room, the space, whatever. Um, does it stay that way? No, because you are the conduit that's invoking that energy. And when you leave, unless the person makes a decision to do that also, it goes back to the way it was. But in your presence and while you're there, you've made that decision. So, rule number one is to use the light when you are operating in this dimension. You use the light in the higher dimension in your mind's eye, and you invoke that energy and you call it in. And you have that control over what happens in your environment. Stay connected. Number two is stay connected to your non-physical tribe. We talked about your non-physical tribe, your ancestors, your guides, your mentors, and of course, your source, right? So you're constantly checking in. That's what your intuition does. That's the conduit. And you're constantly checking in, and you're constantly um, aware. So you've made an agreement to go into this relationship, and you are going to be challenged to trust what you're hearing. Do I move forward? Do I move back? Do I stay still? And so that it's very important. And you're not, this is something that, I mean, it sounds a little robotic, but it's something that will happen naturally, eventually, if you affirm that. Number three, trust. Trust is the strongest weapon against doubt. So again, when we move into these relationships and we want to start kingdom building and we're giving our all to the relationship, a lot of times doubt will creep in. And doubt says, am I doing the right thing? And so forth. So that's where we bring in the energy of trust. And we make a commitment that we're going to trust. And a lot of times we have to give ourselves a timeline. We have to say, okay, I'm going to trust that creator, source, God is in control here. And I'm going to give myself the timeline of X amount of time to really figure out if this is what I should be doing, if this is the right relationship for me, if this is where I should be. So that trust is very, very, very important. We have number four, which is faith and desire. So again, I'm going back to you're giving your all. You are you've learned the 5 exercises in the back of the book, these sexual exercises that are just blowing your partner away. And you are having a wonderful time in the relationship, but those ants creep in. Now, ant is A N T, and that comes from the Amen Clinic, Daniel Amen. He talks about we have these automatic negative thoughts. Those are ants. And he says we need to work on a regular basis, recognizing when they are present and working to remove them. So the Amen Clinic has a lot of amazing information, tools, training. Hi, everyone. I see you posting and putting hearts up there. But faith has to do with the ants, and it has to do with the self hypnosis also. So a lot of times we don't realize it, but we are talking to ourselves day in, day out, and we're telling ourselves things like, I don't think I can do this, or, I'm always late, or, just whatever you tell yourself over and over and over again, whether you realize it or not, you're self hypnotizing yourself. So pay attention to that. What am I telling myself over and over again? See, when we do the kingdom building, yes, you are lifting your person up and you are really providing whatever their desires are and yours in the relationship. But the main thing you're doing is elevating yourself. And that's what these rules are, these 5 rules. And the 5th rule is my favorite. We talked about faith, we talked about desire, we talked about the ants, ANT, automatic negative thoughts, we talked about self-hypnosis, and the desire to have things be different. The old relationships didn't work, they may have caused pain, they may have caused everything that we didn't want. We are now having a desire to have a new relationship that brings to us the things that we want. So, of the 5 rules, number 5 is the most interesting for me, and it comes from a book called Growing into Light by Max Freedom Long. Growing into Light by Max Freedom Long. In that book, he talks about the 3 minds. Okay, so he says we have 3 minds, and it's very important for you to learn what they are, when they are working together or apart, and how to best utilize them to accomplish your goals, right? Including building that kingdom and maintaining that healthy relationship. So the first mind is the subconscious mind. That is your emotional mind. It's a heart-centered mind that makes decisions based on emotions, right? Your second mind is your conscious mind. So you have your subconscious emotional mind, you have your conscious thinking, reasoning mind. Now, most of you know that a lot of times those two minds are in conflict with each other, right? And how are they in conflict with each other? They might, let's say, that old relationship that we no longer want, that we're affirming is a thing of the past and the classroom is over. But during that relationship, there might have been times when the conscious mind says, you better stay away from him or her. They are bad news and they haven't been calling. We haven't heard from them. And the conscious mind says, that's the conscious mind. And the subconscious mind said, but I love he. I want to see he. And I want to be with her. Or we're drawn to the person physically, and ignoring the red flags and the other signs. The conscious mind is banging, no, 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 look, this is not good for us. And the other mind is in conflict. I want it, I want it, I want it. Okay? When those two minds are loud and noisy and active and trying to get their version or their say in to your choices and your life experience, the third mind, which is the super conscious mind, stays very still. That superconscious mind is so still and quiet. And what it does is it just waits. So, Max Freedom Long describes the conscious mind and the subconscious mind many times in conflict with each other and fighting with each other. But the part of you that really knows the right answer and what you should be doing is your superconscious mind. But the superconscious mind is not imposing. It's almost akin to the intuition, where it whispers to you softly and quietly, and it tells you what is for your highest good, right? But it has to be invited into the conversation. So you quiet the conscious and the subconscious mind, and you allow the superconscious mind to come in and to speak. That's a conscious and deliberate action. In the book, Growing into Light, he actually gives you exercises at the back of each chapter and shows you how to do that, how to quiet those two, he calls them lower minds, quiet them so that the higher mind can speak. I remember the best example of this was a private session that I was doing with a client at the doctor's office. I worked with a lot of his clients who were not able to really respond to the treatment because there was some emotional blockages. So this lady came in impeccably dressed, super professional looking, and she told me she's an attorney. And she said, I had an experience, and her experience helped me to understand that dynamic between the three minds, right? Although it was a very sad one. She said, I did everything right. I went to school, I got my degrees, I got married, we bought the house with the picket fence and the dog, and then I got pregnant. And I had a wonderful pregnancy, and I'm close to delivering now in my 9th month. And I go into the hospital, and I'm literally on the delivery table, and the doctor tells me my child is stillborn. It's a little girl. She's not moving inside of me, and she said that in that moment, she was, of course, a very cerebral person, very studied, and she always knew how to figure things out, right? But she said in that moment, she did not have an opinion. Of course, she was in major grief, and her subconscious mind was asking why, and her conscious mind was angry. And she said to me that the doctor said to her, you're going to have to listen to me very carefully and follow my exact instructions so you can push the baby out. And she said to me, in that moment, my mind was completely blank. I erased all thoughts of knowing. And I accepted that I knew nothing. And I just listened and I waited for instructions from the doctor. And that is true surrender. I mean, maybe we don't have to do it at that level in our day to day life, but if you could sometimes, especially if you have a situation that is very important and the two minds are in conflict with each other, emotionally you want it, consciously you're getting a no, uh, you quiet both of your minds, you still them. And she said in that moment she was able to do that, and she was just a blank slate. The doctor told her what to do, and they delivered the stillborn baby. And her and her husband spent time with her baby. They gave her a beautiful funeral. And she was there in the office getting that emotional release counseling because she couldn't go back to functioning as her former self. She was racked with grief and guilt. And so we did a lot of work. And one of the things we did in the session was we invited the baby's spirit in to speak with her. And she was able to connect with the baby on a higher plane. And they had a dialogue about why all of this happened. And she made a decision to do a memorial program in the baby's name and in the baby's honor. And it gave her new purpose. It gave her a new focus. And the focus came off of being a victim of what happened and went to, how do I make this experience purposeful in my life? So that was a real example of when you suspend the conscious and the subconscious mind and you allow the superconscious mind to lead you. And a lot of times when we're in these classroom relationships and they have the potential to be kingdom building relationships, we have to start operating like that. We have to start quieting the part of ourselves that thinks they know what we should be doing and allow that super conscious, quiet, intuitive mind to speak. It never raises its voice and goes loud and above. It's very gentle, but you have to invite it in. So that doctor was a surrogate for the superconscious higher mind. So those are the 5 rules. The tools are many. There's 40 tools that range everywhere from aromatherapy to hyperbaric oxygen. and I talk about all the tools. I talk about herbs in the book. There are herbs that stimulate and there are herbs that relax. So if you're a person that's naturally wound up, you might want to learn which herbs relax. There are music sounds that stimulate. Marching band sounds are stimulating. And there are sounds that are relaxing. So identify which one you need for yourself and your partner and incorporate that into your day to day. So that if you need more energy, if you feel drained after a long day's work, you might want to brew a cup of tea that's a stimulating tea to revive and re-energize you. If you're wound up and just really energetic and manic, sometimes we get like that, then you might want a tea to relax you uh, for the rest of the evening. So those are the 5 rules. And and the tools, I started giving you a few of them, but there are many, many more in the book. I want to take you into a meditation, and we only have a few minutes. Um, and can someone, I don't know, are you all muted? Because I want someone to read me some of what is in the chat. Uh, okay, peace and God bless. Thank you all for joining tonight. So there's a lot of information there. Get comfortable. I would like to take you into the um, the future, and I want you to take a look at what your kingdom building relationship might look like. Okay. I also want to tell you, and I'll repeat this before we end, that we're not meeting next week. Next week is the 11th. We're going to meet again on the 18th. Okay. So we're going to skip a week next week. We're meeting on the 18th, and that's going to be the session that's going to blow your mind, because we're going to talk about the 5 sexual energy exercises. Okay. But right now, I want to take you into a meditation. So get comfortable, sit, close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths in and out, and let yourself begin to relax. And just follow my voice and take your attention to the top of your head. I want you to imagine that every cell and every muscle at the top of your head is relaxing. And let the relaxation move down to your forehead, and feel your forehead relax. Feel your eyes relaxing, your nose, your cheeks, your mouth, your entire face relaxing. I want you to take your awareness to your jaw. This is a part of the body that holds a lot of tension sometimes. And just imagine that your jaw is loosening up and relaxing. Take a deep breath in and breathe out any stress or tension that you might be holding in your body. And just imagine, with your eyes closed, relaxing energy moving down into your neck and torso and your shoulders. Whatever your shoulders are leaning against, they are sinking into and relaxing. Feel the relaxation move into your chest, and focus on your chest. Take a very deep breath in. Breathe in relaxation. Breathe out any stress or tension that you might be holding. Feel the relaxing energy move down into your abdomen, your thighs, your legs, all the way down your ankles and out your feet. A wave of relaxing energy covering your entire body. Feel the relaxation move back up again into your feet, your legs, all the way up your thighs into your torso, so that any part of you that was not relaxed before is now totally, fully, and completely relaxing. Deep breath in, breathe in relaxation, and breathe out any stress or tension that you might be holding. Let that relaxing energy come up, all the way up to your chin, your mouth, your eyes, your nose, your entire face. Any part of you that was not relaxed is now relaxing. And just feel the relaxation literally spilling out through the top of your head like a waterfall of soothing, healing, relaxing energy, and just pouring down over you. Any sounds that you hear from now on, including the sound of my voice, will serve one purpose, and that will be to assist you to relax even more. Deep breath in and release. Ooh, we are going to take a wonderful journey through time, and we are going to connect you with your future kingdom building relationship. And when you take this journey, you may or may not see the person. It may be a silhouette, but you will see yourself in that future kingdom building relationship that is for your highest good. Allow yourself to take that journey through time and to see yourself in that place. Deep breath in and release, counting 1, 2, 3, and 4, moving forward into time. 5, 6, and 7, connecting to your future self. 8, 9, and 10. This is the self that has learned how to come out of the classroom and move into a kingdom building relationship. 11, 12, 13, and 14. You can see clearly everything you need to know. Deep breath in and release. 15, 16, and 17. You are awake, alive, refreshed, clear, and knowing that you are ready for this kingdom building relationship. 18, 19, and 20. Let yourself step into this future vision and just ask yourself, are you inside or outside? Is it daytime or nighttime? Sometimes when we go into these future visions or past, we can't always see everything right away, and that's okay. Let it unfold. Observe your future self. What are they doing? Who's there in this image with them? Take a deep breath in and release, and let yourself sense the energy that is there. What does this image feel like? Yes. Breathe in and out. Ask your future self to show you what is happening in your kingdom building relationship. Deep breath in and out. Are there more people besides you and your future mate? What are you doing? How does this feel? Let yourself really melt into the experience. Know that it is possible. Just savor whatever is happening in this kingdom building relationship. You have earned it. You have elevated yourself. You have released old negative behavior that no longer serves you. You have made a commitment to have the best. You have made a commitment to live according to your highest good. Deep breath in and release. So now you're in it. And ask your future self if there's anything you need to know now that will help you get to this place later. Deep breath in and release, and just take in the information. Is there anything I need to know now that will get me to this place later? I want you to thank your future self for showing you the kingdom building relationship in your future. I want you to make an affirmation, declaration, agreement with your future self that you will accomplish this vision. Any less exchange of information takes place, thanking your future self, we return to the present. Counting 20, 19, and 18, coming back to the present. 17, 16, 15, and 14, feeling refreshed, clear, and alive. 13, 12, 11, and 10. And now you know what to do. 9, 8, 7, to release all old classroom relationships and move into the kingdom building. 654, remembering fully, clearly, and completely. 3, 2, and 1. You may open your eyes whenever you're ready. So, I would really love to hear from anyone who had the experience of connecting with their future self and really got a message or a word from that part of themselves. Okay, so put it in the chat, and I'm trying to figure out, can you guys unmute yourself, or do we have to unmute you? Because I'd love for someone to share if they could. I'd love to have someone share. So what we have is an exercise that took us to our future self, that helped us see who we could become in the kingdom building phase of our relationship experience, and what that might look like. I have a course on the website. It's a 30-day relationship course. And in that course, I have about 16 of the meditations that I just took you through. And you can play them at the audio, and they really take you to a place of connecting and planning and knowing and understanding. All right. So that's what you want to do. You want to use the power of your imagination. You want to use the power of your mind to take you to that place of improvement in this relationship situation. And so the meditations are very, very helpful for that. We also sent out an announcement. Many of the people on this chat work with an energy called Reiki. I started my career as a nurse 40 years ago, and I worked in newborn nursery at the old Booth Memorial Hospital. It's on Main Street in Flushing, Queens. And I also worked in pediatrics. And I remember when I learned to do Reiki, I would go around the children's ward at night and draw the Reiki healing symbols in the corners of the room to bring in the love energy that Reiki calls in. And by the way, when I tell you about invoking the light, and all of that is akin to love energy. So I would go around really intending love over all of the children. And I remember the parents would come to me in the morning because I worked the night shift, and they would say, "Are you working again tonight?" Because something was different. And it was the first time that I was able to get a full night's sleep. This lady told me that. She said, "My son and I have not slept all week. And last night we slept all night." And so I knew that we were giving love energy. So the Reiki Mastership will be starting in September for those who are interested in learning more about Reiki and how to teach Reiki. And we will meet here again on the 18th. So we can do that final segment, which is the 5 sexual energy exercises that will blow you away and actually heal your partner. So, Kenya, I don't know if you're here. I'm not sure how we disconnect, but we are at 8:30. I want to thank everyone who came on. And I want to tell you that if you're using the book, go ahead and reinforce these things that I talked about. You might want to consider getting the course. It's a lot easier because everything that I've been talking to you about is in audio tapes and videotapes. So it's a lot of videotapes and a lot of audio tape meditations. And it will keep you on track and in the loop for your relationship healing journey. Thank you for coming, and good night.